They're not from there. That proves that. You understand what I'm saying? The Arabs and British and French, you know what I'm saying, created a, the Arab, the British, the French, and Zionists and all types of Khazarach gypsies and people calling themselves were not living in Egypt at all. They were never there. So when they wrote the Bible and rewrote the Bible and rewrote versions of the Bible, once they established that Jewish state in Egypt, which they were in the mountains up there in Germany and all of that, they were never indigenous to Africa or Egypt or the plateau at all. So they wrote a book based on putting themselves in there. Once all this that has just been spoken to you, based on you listening to that documentary, after all that was done and said, then they started to preach that old bullshit about how they built pyramids, Moses, this, that, and the third. This is how that all came about, whether you like it or not, and whether the preachers is telling you the truth or not. So we have to start to understand what really took place.
See, the commanders are protecting the empire, whether it was the French, whether it was the British, or who else was in on the act? The French and the British, and they divided up the territory among themselves without much consideration for the people there, and set up a state of volatility that goes on to this day. Now the question is, how do you start to square this away? And a manifestation of the violence is, of course, in the current activity in Gaza. But how do you stop that? How do you bring it back? How do you get it to some point? It's almost you.
So what he's saying is the same thing. Who's all involved now? Prior to anybody being in the region of that area, they now renamed Palestine and talking about some Israel. There was no Palestine and there was no Israel there. You know what I'm saying? The British, the French, the Zionists, and many other groups of their people created and were claiming these different things to get a religious Judaism type vibe going, and up in Germany, up in Europe, up there, not in Africa, not in Egypt. So once they established that, and they were warring amongst each other, their war spread it. And sometimes when they spread their war, they'll go and war with the people who have nothing to do with the war that they're warring between the French, the British, and all types of European nations, of their warring in Germany and all types of shit. The Africans had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? But when they have these type of wars up there, they also spread out their wars and go and war against a group of people who may be in Africa, you know what I'm saying, that's don't know what's going on, peaceful and quiet, and they come in, they invade, and they murder, and they kill everybody because the whole world believes that the white people, or white people in general, is the ruler of the world. Because look at the type of shit that they were going around doing. What if we switch it around and black people did that in Europe? I wonder what they would have said if we had invaded and totally crushed the whole region and took it over. This is what they do. So when they have these wars, what they do from time to time is they spread out and take people's territory with no regard for the people that are living there. Like the people have to ask them to come in and brutalize them and kill them and take their land and claim it for themselves. This is what the British, the French, the Zionists, and crooked ass motherfucking leadership in the United States was supporting this activity and that's why Biden said we have to create we have to create a Israel, because it was a creation of people from not even in Africa that invaded throughout the time in the documentary you just listened to, you know what I'm saying, and the dates and stuff, you know, and started keep invading and pushing the people there, talking about Judaism, Jew, and all types of different stuff. So now the people are saying, well, no, you can't come in here and just push us off our own land just because you want to come in here and create a state or create this and create that. You know what I'm saying? Same thing the Arabs and the Arabs, Emirates, and the rest of the Arab groups did. When they invaded Egypt, they did the same thing in the region. That's why they were going around in Darfur murdering off the black people off the land. You know what I'm saying? They had been doing this for years. You know what I'm saying? And invading the land, and then it became a tug of war between the Arabs that were controlling the land, you know what I'm saying, which they set up and betrayed each other left and right, you know what I'm saying, as idiots do, you know what I'm saying, and end up siding with the Zionists or siding with the French or the British, and they conned him off, and he turned against his own people and went to war against Opia. And then once he think that he pushed them out, the ones that the other Arabs that were fighting, you know what I'm saying, he pushed them out. The British said they're gonna promise him rule, and then when they promised him rule, he ruled for a while, but they also crushed his ass and got his ass out the way. And then again, like he said, more and more, pushing more and more of the Kazaraks, Gypsies, or whatever they call themselves, Jews, into that area, flooding the area. And even when the trick was played with Rockefeller, you know what I'm saying, and the rest of them suckers, putting Hitler into power and supporting his power to keep him banging those people out and pushing them out of, you know, Germany into Palestine, into Egypt, that in the Egypt region where the Arabs had already been set up and invaded. So you could imagine in the midst of that, what became of the African people who the land truly belongs to. Where the Egyptian black people, where the black people that occupied that kingdom all the way up the river and beyond the territory into the side, almost into the side, well, you could say into the controlling even the Siberian mountains and what we call the Caucasus Mountains today. So for them to take over, they war with the African people, and probably, you know, eventually African people does that. Just like when you had the Moors, they say they conquered Spain and so forth on. The war was back and forth with these people, and they end up, you know, pushing back them, going back into Africa. You know what I'm saying? Grimoire and different places. You know, going down there, and they got in there. But over time and generations and time, even coming through to my mother's time, you know what I'm saying, and they were before her time, even doing this war and this bullshit, pushing into Africa every time you turned around. So when they write a Bible saying that Moses was there back in a time when nobody could prove that in any shape or form, nor can we find even a fossil or a body of a Caucasian person in Africa, you know what I'm saying? You might find dark-skinned Neanderthals probably that had been grafted by the Africans trying to help them out, bring them back to what they're supposed to look like. You know what I'm saying? They were busy the same thing, coming into Africa. You know what I'm saying? Because we control that whole region all the way up, like I said, to the Caucasus Mountains. You know what I'm saying? So when they came in with the same warring, vulgar, barbarian, Neanderthal caveman, barbarian, Turks, Nordics, all of them came in and constantly war amongst themselves, and war even with the African people. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at what even took place in Darfur, that had been going on, driving the Africans. Even when you look at the transatlantic slave trade, that removed a lot of Africans from Egypt and the Egyptian plateau, and probably up the river in Congo, Ethiopia, and what we see going on now today in Sudan. This is all invaders. They don't belong there. You know what I'm saying? That's why they wrote the book, trying to tell people about some Noah, trying to tell people about some Moses, and trying to talk about how they were there building the pyramids and the Egyptians had them in slavery, and all this different lying ass story that they tell in their crooked ass book. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody today can truly prove any of what that book is saying, because there is no proof to the book. The book is no more than a matrix to make you had believe that the fact that they had a right to be in Egypt, Africa, and bang out and kill the people and do all kinds of shit, but yet still talking about their God and talking about their holy God and how he forgives and he died for your sins and all this different kind of stuff going on. And next thing you know, saying they down there murdering and killing in the name of that God, which is evil, Baphomet. Because when you look at even the worship deep down inside, you would see that it's Baphometical. So don't give me that bullshit blind book talking about how you did this and did that in Africa and you have a right to go there. So if you had a right to go there, why you had to find them a homeland? Because like the Bible said, they were a wanderer race. You know what I'm saying? They were wandering wanderers, a sinner, a tyrant, and a murderer, and a killer, and a pedophilia, and every twisted thing that you could pack into one type of being on this here planet. And you see what I'm saying? So they were going around doing all kinds of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Sacrificing little children, coming up with all type of different wicked shit that, evil shit and carrying on and all this different stuff, such as what we saw many times going on even in Rome. But even Rome at a certain point had a structure, that was even based off of Africanism as well. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you had a lot of them coming into Africa, acting crazy, carrying on, invading, killing, murdering. Same thing you had on the other side with the Arabs that came out of the south. They came in doing the same thing, and then many of their people ended up being refugees and running from the different conflicts of war, and war, no peace. And even the rule that was created in their book. So when they create these books and they put them out, the Quran, the Torah, and the so-called Christian Bible, when you look at the same people that support this crooked lying book, set of books, look at their conduct based on humanity and how they treat even their very own. That would speak for exactly what that is not a book of authenticity, nor it's a book of any true historical vow. Because the historical vow, they stole and remixed it in those books to give you an idea, a feeling that they belong in Africa, in Egypt, in that territory, controlling, killing, murdering the people. But over here on Sunday, telling you about Jesus Christ, who always holding up his three fingers and his little Baphometical Freemasonal finger. Look in every picture. If you pay more close attention to the statues and the different things that Jesus, you'll see he's holding up with his fingers, Freemasonry and all type of bull nonsense. So we know full well that you are corrupted, you're full of garbage, and we know full well that you're full of shit. You know what I'm saying? You wrote those books in order to matriarchal beat people brains into some bull and then go around the world and steal, rob, murder, kill, blood sacrifice, eat people, do all kinds of nastiness, vulgar upon our earth. You know what I'm saying? And it must be, the wicked must be banked from creation. You know what I'm saying? Amongst the men of the mother that gave us this glory. You know what I'm saying? They must be removed. And they have infected even the African people here in the United States and across the planet altogether, because there is no way that African people, you want to tell me, is out their goddamn mind, retarded, and everything else you want to put together, that they cannot scramble together back what their people's strength and power was always and always will be. You know what I'm saying? So while we playing these games and listening to these books and all this different stuff, the proof is in the pudding, and it was said right there for you to hear clear who and how they did it. Why would the British, again, have to create a Zionist, you know what I'm saying, group of people calling themselves Crews or Jews, whatever, create a look for a home state? If they was there, they would have always been still there. So why would you have to create a homeland for them if they had any land at all? that they hadn't invaded and taken from the African people and the people of that territory and wrote and graph of the time. You know what I'm saying? Why would you have to create a home state or place or home land? So that means you were not in Egypt. You did not build no pyramids. You did not have anything to really do with that territory. Or an invasion, murder, killing, pedophilia, bullshit, and bloody murder. You tell me, while everybody's sitting up going to church every Sunday preaching this, but you ain't speaking up, because I haven't heard the church speak up about what's going on in Palestine. So your God, or whatever you claim, is not a God of mercy, and it's not a God of overstanding of humanity and the creation and nature within itself and the cosmos. You are more interested in Baphomet. So let's just be clear, because why haven't the churches spoke up about any of this? The churches have completely went silent on this matter. So that tells me right there that you have been facilitating the lie as well. So you cannot run and you cannot hide. There is no place for you to run now. You have violated the very creation of life itself and the existence of life before before creation that you say is creation in your books. You know what I'm saying? And then your books is a dead end street, because whenever you mention anything about who did this and who did that, the first thing you say out your mouth is God did it. That's a dead end street. And your silence of not speaking up more loudly, more protest, and showing the church and all of this tells me who you are affiliated with, who tells you what to say, who tells you what not to say, and many other things, and your ass went silent because you know that your shit is a fucking lie. And a con motherfucking game, robbing the people of their money every day, every Sunday, and every time you turn it around. Because some people even make contributions unbeknown to the Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And cranking in millions and millions and millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? While the people are starving literally to death. They have no place to go. Many of them sleeping in their cars, elderly, young, you know what I'm saying, and many others are literally sleeping in their cars, running from the distance. And the Ottoman Turks, you know what I'm saying, if you heard, the Ottoman Turks was controlling the region. They also, so we can mention the British, the French, the Zionist knucklehead group, and you know what I'm saying, the Ottoman Turks, you know what I'm saying, and the Germans, and many of them groups coming into Africa, consistently plaguing the African people. Literally, there is stories in Africa about certain villages that were not big villages. They did not have a lot of warriors to protect them. You know what I'm saying? They went in there, they fucking kill off the men, rape the little boys, and fuck all the women right in the middle of the village, all over the ground, stabbing and killing and murdering and carrying on like banshees. You know what I'm saying? Those stories are never been told. You see, of their fucking bullshit that they do under the banner of this so-called God. You know what I'm saying? I don't follow it, never will, never have, and I don't respect it in any shape or form, because when I see the lying and the bullshit that go on within it, it tells me right there that all the people of the world must now stand up and start to show that you understand the aspect of what it is they have done and still doing. You know what I'm saying? Now, when many people talk up or go against it, you know what I'm saying, these people have the audacity, you know what I'm saying, imagine, to blackball you, to make you lose your job. Wow. To make and even assassinate them. Oh yes. I wonder if they're gonna assassinate the college kids on campus who's protesting against this genocide game that they have been playing. It didn't just start. As you can understand, this is how they invade places, and this is how, and then holding on to this invasion and murdering and bloody murder for over 75 or to 75 to 150 fucking years, even so, you know what I'm saying, to be doing this to the people continuously all across the planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? This is why African people have got to get rid of a lot of these people from within your government. You have got to structuralize and use Africa wealth in its agriculture greatness, because it's a great agricultural land to grow and this and that. And you have to seek out the proper materials, not getting it from the British, the French, the Zionists, and Bill Gates and the folk Fauci, the North Case ass weasel. You have to get the necessary grains and minerals that you need from every tree and everything, and stop cutting down all the trees and all this and that, and turning it into this and turning it into that. And even if it is that, then take it over and turn it into an oasis, such as your people did when they created Egypt. So let's wake up and let's get it going.